Morning.
Good morning, all of you. Good morning. Okay, I'm Lakshita here, and I am here for delivering a speech on the topic of education. So, guys, as you all know that education is very important. But let's talk about what is education. Because without talking about the meaning of education, I don't think so we can understand it really. And most of the people, what they do, they used to talk about education, but really they don't know the real meaning of the education. So let's talk about it. Actually, according to me, education means when men want to become a man. मतलब means by education we learn how to live life. By education we learn how to be a man, how to be a human being. But if you see, so what is education nowadays? And this could be termed in three types. First is formal education. Formal education means where there is classroom, where there are teachers, where there are students, where all the academic education we can term education from schooling to college. This could be termed formal education. And second is informal education. Informal education means which we learn from outside the school, from our parents, from our relatives, from our friends. Like we learn how to live life, like we learn how to dress ourselves, we learn how to ride bicycles, we learn how to drive and how to cook. This all could be termed informal education. And now let's talk about the third thing, the third type of education. This is non-formal education. Non-formal education means where we learn to skill ourselves, where we learn to improve our skill, means skill development. This could be termed non-formal education. But at the end, if you see, so if we are separately educating ourselves from a single education, like if we are getting only formal education, so this gonna be never helping our life to live happy life or to make our life awesome. So at the initial, what I think that we must have the combination or the mixture of the education, where we can get formal and academic education too, where we can get informal education too, where we can get non-formal education too. Because if we don't have academic education, I don't think so we can have good command over content, good command over the history or the philosophy or other things. And if we don't have informal education, I don't think that we can have a good command over how to live our life. And if we don't have non-formal education, I don't think that we will able to get a good job, or we will able to live our livelihood. So this is also important. So if you see, so let's talk about history too, because if you want to understand something, so we must know what was the history of it. So as we know that there was verbal education in our prehistory or ancient time, we see there were verbal education, means where the teachers used to teach students verbally, and the students pass the message through verbal conversation to the other generation, to the next generation. This was the thing. But with the colonization, with the European colonization, we will find that the academic study we are doing this started, where teachers used to write and students used to write, and there was books, classrooms. This was started. And now we are following the same thing with some evolutions like technology, like mobile phones, and like some schools like coachings and this all. But the strategy which is for academic, this is the same. Now let's talk what is the purpose of education, because without knowing purpose of education, I don't think so we will find the meaning of education. So it is dynamic. As I said, someone wants to be educated because they want to get job, someone wants to be educated because they want to live a happy life, someone wants to get educated because they want to solve the problems of the world. So it is very dynamic. So I think so, as per my thinking, purpose must be to live a happy life and to do something for the world. This must be the purpose of education. Now let's talk about how education is important, because if we know the purpose, then we must know the importance of education, because there are problems, but problems can be eliminated if we are educated, because there are so many social evils there are so many problems like alcoholism, like alcoholism, and there are so many problems where we are brainwashed, where we are politically abused and socially abused. But if we will be educated, we will have the quality education, and we have the education, we have the awareness, so we can fight against it. So anyhow, we must know that we must know the importance of education, and we must educate the people, the 100% people of the country. Now let's talk how can we get 100% literacy rate and 100% education to all. So at last, what I want to say on very small scale, like our country, for our country like India. So where there is very poor population lives, those who have to earn for their basic needs, like food, shelter, and livelihood. So I think so here the government have to take initiative for that, and they have to invest more deeply on the education, so that we can have we can reach out to the poor people, and we can give them we can educate them. And this is the one thing. But at the large level, for changing the system, for changing the whole system, we need to take some four initiative. One is that we need to make our education system inclusive. Inclusive means where everyone can study as they want, where everyone, we can see the difference between rich and poor. We can see difference between community. We can see difference between those who have good intellectual ability, who have low intellectual ability. So this must be inclusive, where everyone can study. And second is it must be affordable. Now we can see that how the fees is in lakhs, and in our the country India is low middle class country. Yeah. So here the lakhs is a lot. So it must be affordable. And third is it must be accessible, where everyone can access it. And fourth is that it must be change their views. Like it must include sexual education. It must include moral education. It must include qualities in it. So then we can call it really meaning of education, or really quality education. So at last, I want to say that we need to improve education system, and we have to work on it. Thank you.
Very nice speech.